Star Wars Ahsoka plans show George Lucas's apprentice can surpass his master. What? What is this dog shit from Shilrand? And it's been announced that Dave Filoni is now Lucasfilm's CCO, and an incredible achievement for someone who once started as George Lucas' protege. He was never his protege. He was just a guy who worked on Clone Wars, and he got promoted enough so that he basically took over when George wasn't working on it. And look what he did. He butchers it, creates bullshit. Clone Wars makes no sense. It's not good supplementary stuff. It dilutes the prequels. In a lot of cases, it makes it worse because they butcher the lore. Look at Dathomir. Look at the Mandos. Clone Wars does nothing but create plot holes that they never fix. Goddamn. Filoni will work closely with Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy to develop Star Wars projects, offering support to creatives and ensuring that the franchise retains a cohesive storyline. Oh my God. Disney Star Wars is known for its lack of cohesive storytelling. The fact that they have to constantly retcon everything to try and make it work. It's always in a shambles. They don't even look and go back and check their own bullshit. They're constantly forgetting their own crap story. So you tell me the guy who purposefully diluted the storytelling of the prequels to tell bullshit stories that were frankly not necessary. You're telling me that guy, he's going to be the glue that holds together Disney Star Wars cohesively? Hell no. Filoni's promotion is a massive shakeup for Lucasfilm. No, it's not, because he was there the whole time. But it makes sense. Underneath the surface, Filoni is a meticulous planner, and no character's journey proves more than Ahsoka Tano's meticulous planner. Look at Ahsoka. That entire 8-episode series makes no sense. Go watch my reviews. They are still there. The playlist is there. Ahsoka makes no sense. The characters behave like morons. Their actions, their decision-making, nothing is coherent. The world between worlds is not coherent. Dave Filoni is always known Ahsoka's destiny. Yeah, because he created her to never die. You know what her destiny was? To die. George Lucas wanted her dead. Like every other goddamn Jedi except Yoda, Obi-Wan, and maybe a couple others that might have survived the Purge. But that's it. And I say the Purge, not Order 66, because Order 66 was that one night. Order 66 was just the one moment. It was then the Jedi Purge. Just Darth Vader and the 501st. No Inquisitors, none of that. Vader and the 501st hunting down every remaining Jedi, Padawan, youngling out there. That's the true history. Ahsoka dies during that, either because she fades away and hides and dies a quiet, peaceful life, or Vader kills her himself, which would have been fine. But not the way they do it in Rebels on Malachor goddamn 5. Dave Filoni, his destiny is to keep his main character, his baby, his fuck doll alive, because it's the only thing he's got. Ahsoka is the only thing that makes Dave Filoni relevant in all of this. You take her away, he's got nothing. And having her be Ahsoka the White, you've heard this talked about on numerous other occasions. He is a thief. He's a thief. Look at all of Ahsoka. He was ripping off Tolkien left and right. He's quoted for years saying he wanted Ahsoka to be like Gandalf the White. So Ahsoka the White, that's not knowing where she was going to go. That's forcing it. As soon as George wasn't there to keep him from doing it. But Nah. His plan was to make her the center of everything, and it doesn't work because look, nobody watched Ahsoka. Nobody cared about it. But yeah, so he of course he wants to know where Ahsoka's going to go because it was his plan to do it once George wasn't around, and George is he's the true guide of Star Wars. So of course we're going. All right, let's an excerpt from the Art of the Mandalorian season 2 illustrates Filoni's knack for planning. Oh, this should be good. I haven't read this yet. There were a lot of debates about Ahsoka pointing to the way pointing the way to Luke Skywalker, Dave Filoni recalled. And John and I went back and forth because Ahsoka can't take care of Grogu. Then who will? Taking care of the child, not her destiny. That's not what I've been planning her to do. So I can't change it up. But it's interesting if Ahsoka were there along the way, not as somebody who takes this burden away from Mando, but as somebody to say, you might be forgetting that this kid has a choice too. It's not about you and your oath to your covert. That is gobbledygook. And that just shows you that Dave Filoni isn't a true creative. Listen, I want to tell you guys a host of stories in the years to come. We get this channel to a certain point. We're starting the crowdfund. We get the first book out. That's the beginning. That's the starting line. We're off to the races. I have got dozens of stories to tell you that I have to first get out of my head and put back on paper, or in some cases, rewrite to fit what I have planned. Yes, do I have things in mind the way they went at certain ways? Of course I do. Do I always have a beginning and the ending plan? Yes, of course I do. But you know what? You know what? Sometimes I change things because things do change. Ideas do come along. Sometimes something doesn't work and I have to change it. Nothing is ever set in stone, not completely. Things can always be altered. And I have altered them. I have altered a lot of things that I once thought were set in stone. So Dave Filoni doesn't know what the fuck he's talking. This is bullshit, though, what Filoni says here. That just shows he doesn't have a creative bone in his body. To say that he won't change it, no. Won't changing it means you can't think of anything better. You can't adapt it. You can't grow an idea. You can't take something you see and say, wait a minute, wait. Maybe I can elevate this to a new level by doing this now and slightly changing it here. So this is bullshit by Filoni. This quote implies that Filoni is always, on some level, known where Ahsoka's story is headed. Of course he knows where it's headed because he wants her to live forever and become the center of Star Wars. He has a concrete idea about her destiny. She doesn't have a destiny. She's a side character. She was a side character in Anakin's story. And yes, Ahsoka does exist. She is canon. I accept that. But not to the extent that Filoni has tried to make her. As a protector of the galaxy, she is not the future hope of the Jedi, as Luke Skywalker and later Rey Skywalker became. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Did they not watch Ahsoka? Filoni moved heaven and earth to make Ahsoka the center of attention in that story, to make her Jedi, her fake Jedi ways, her non-Jedi ways, her great Jedi bullshit, the center of attention with her Padawans, her tryhards. He moved heaven and earth. And this is all in the sequel trilogy. All roads lead to Jake Skywalker. She may have found a new Padawan, and later Rey. Yeah, Rey's not anything. Rey Skywalker, Rey Palpatine, Rey Mary Sue. She may have found a new Padawan to train, but even her relationship with Sabine proves she's very much dictating her future. Let's talk about Sabine. I mention this all the time. What does Dave Filoni do? He breaks the rules. He breaks the rules of Star Wars to fit his agenda. The Force is in everything in the Star Wars galaxy. To quote Yoda, it binds us together, not this crude matter. But not everybody can use the Force. Sabine is not Force sensitive. Just because she wants it, just because she squeezes her eyes so tightly and clenches and unclenches her asshole to try and shit it out, doesn't mean she can use the Force. Ezra Tryhard Bridger is a pathetic character that he created to replace other Jedi in the Star Wars expanded universe. This is not how it works. And I swear to God, one day when we get to making merch for the channel, it's going to be in a t-shirt. That's not how it works. Swear to you. Swear to you. I'm going to put it on there. That's not how the Force works and how any of it works. I mean, again, let's go right to Ahsoka. Dave Filoni knows what he's doing. Ezra Tryhard says, I don't need a lightsaber. The Force is all the ally I need. 10 minutes later, he's picking up a blaster to shoot shit. Dave Filoni thinks ahead. He's always planning. No, he's a retard. Could probably barely tie his own shoes. The only thing that remains to be seen is where the path leads after he defeats Ahsoka. Oh, you mean to try and recreate the Mortis gods who are dead? I mean, that just shows you all the goddamn tourists who are flying through Disney Star Wars saying, oh, Mortis guards, Mortis, Abeloth, Mortis. They don't know anything. They hear these terms and they apply it having no idea what the actual lore is. And the Mortis arc is one of the only parts of Clone Wars that actually goddamn works because George did it. That's why it worked so well, because George did it. That was George Lucas. Dave Filoni's achieving what Lucas claimed to do. Oh, this should be hot. Despite claims to the contrary, George Lucas never truly planned out the original Star Wars trilogy. No shit, Sherlock! Everybody and their grandmother knows that Vader was not originally Luke and Leia's father. Luke and Leia were not originally brother and sister. We know he made that change in Empire Strikes Back. God damn. We know that he was never supposed to be Anakin Skywalker. So stupid. That is well-known, documented history. But George did have it planned out that Obi-Wan and Anakin fought, maybe not on Mustafar, but they had a fight. Maybe he hadn't needed Mustafar yet, but they had their fight. Or at the time, Vader. And when he redid it, he knew they had their fight. And they only had, when it was just Vader, Obi-Wan, they had their one fight that scarred Vader. And then they made it Anakin, and then he flushed out Anakin's story. That's fine. He's allowed to do that because, look, even a genius, as we just talked about, can go back and change something. Nothing is set in stone. Lucas changed things because he had a better idea. The original Star Wars trilogy on the whole is a masterclass in genre filmmaking. Oh, good. Thank you for telling us that. And undeniably changed Hollywood forever. That doesn't mean, however, that it isn't without its flaws. Of course, nothing is perfect. The kiss became... I fucking hate it how they always go back to the kiss between brother and sister. They didn't know they were brother and sister at that moment. Leia didn't know she was his brother. She was his sister. And at that point in the movie, when you watch it for the first time, you don't know. You're full of shit when you cringe at that bullshit. That is one of the lamest goddamn excuses they always fucking make. Oh, it's so terrible that they kissed their brother and sister. At that point in the story, you don't know that, and they don't know that, so it's not bad. It's not terrible. It's just a whoops. Sorry, I tongued you there, Luke, just to make Han jealous. And she did it to make Han jealous. She wasn't doing it because she was into Luke. She did it to make Han jealous. My God, they're fucking pedestrian, goddamn tourists, fake fans. That's not a flaw. It's part of the story. Would the trilogy have been good overall if Lucas had planned everything beforehand? It's possible to say, oh, shut up. Let me get the Filoni part here. But Lucas's claims that he had decided everything from the beginning makes it clear that he does believe in the power of narrative planning, which is exactly what Dave Filoni has been doing to become Lucas's protege. Ahsoka's Star Wars story in particular has been crystal clear from the beginning. I call bullshit on that. You know why? As I said earlier, because when Lucas was still in control, she died in the Purge. She was dead. Lucas is quoted as saying Ahsoka was dead. Ahsoka was supposed to die. So that you lose your fake narrative that Filoni had it all planned out. No, Lucas had it planned out, and he said she was dead, and then Filoni changed it once Lucas didn't have control anymore and couldn't stop the Filoni from ruining everything. That's bullshit. Has remained intact. No, bullshit. Filoni's penchant for planning will undoubtedly come in handy when greenlighting further Star Wars projects at his new role at Lucasfilm. While George Lucas's unplanned approach worked for the original trilogy, Disney's sequel trilogy suffered from a lack of cohesive. Oh, you don't say! You don't say. How many years did they all tell us, oh, there was a plan, only then to have in 2021 Jar Jar come out and say, yeah, there was no plan. They love to rewrite history. They love to retcon all this bullshit. And it's bullshit. All of it is bullshit. And Dave Filoni doesn't have a plan. He doesn't have a plan. You want to know how he doesn't have a plan? Let's look at the Mandoverse. Let's look at Mando seasons 1, 2, and 3. Or more accurately, Mando 1, Mando 2, and Book of Boba Fett. The whole point of all of that was to return Grogu to the Jedi, which turned out to be Luke. And then in season 2.1, which happened to be the final couple episodes of Book of Boba Fett, suddenly it's all reversed. That shows you he didn't have a plan. You don't spend 2 seasons trying to get Grogu to the Jedi where he's going to learn to be the next Jedi, only to reverse it literally an episode later in the timeline and have him choose to be a Mandalorian. That is not a plan. Bullshit. He didn't plan anything.
Thanks for watching, everybody. If you'd like to reach out to me, please email me at theranernerd@gmail.com for all channel business purposes. I am on Twitter now, mostly for promotion and sharing of videos, maybe a little shit stirring here and there, who knows, @theranernerd. You can also find me at the Geeks and Gamers forums under @ROAS, and you can see me on Rumble and Odyssey under the Renaissance Nerd. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy.